Yes, this is the Viper, and I'm here with the orchestra's resident mixologist, Edward Burch, who's going to mix for us a Viper's cocktail today.
So I was talking with the Viper about this, and we were trying to figure out what kind of drink to make, and we decided that something that is an older traditional style drink, but still with something new added, might be a good approach. And the Viper, of course, is from Wisconsin. A standard Wisconsin old-fashioned would usually involve brandy. And we're going to kind of do that a little bit, but not exactly. We're mainly going to go with an older, even older style old-fashioned that would involve gin. But we've decided to use a Wisconsin-made gin. This one is Death's Door.
From Washington Island.
Yes, made up in Washington Island.
Tip of Door County.
So this cocktail is going to involve the gin, and then Pierre Ferrand's dry Curacao, which is made with brandy, so that's where the brandy element will come in. And then we'll have some Chartreuse thrown in. Chartreuse, I think monks make it somewhere. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's similar to Benedictine, where like nobody knows the whole recipe all at once.
Oh, okay.
So what we're going to do is first we're going to take some Demerara sugar cubes. Well, really, we're just going to take one. Put it in the bottom of the mixing glass. You could actually mix this cocktail in the glass you're going to drink it in if you wanted, but I thought it'd be easier to show you in the bigger glass. So we put the sugar cube in, and we're gonna kind of crush it up. There we go. It's getting a little crushed up. Now, to that, we're going to add a little bit of lemon peel, because that's going to get the essential oils into the sugar before we mix. So when you peel the lemon off, the goal is to, like, there's a little bit of the pith that's on there, but the goal is to, you know, leave as much pith off of it as you can, because that's the super bitter element. But in that rind, there's some essential oil in there. Here, let's grab one more, because you can't have enough lemon zest in these sorts of things. So we got that in. So then we're going to muddle that with the sugar, press it into the sugar. That's probably good.
What is the point of the muddling?
The muddling, you're helping to press out some of the essential oils and get them into the sugar, because once we mix the drink, the sugar is going to get into solution with the other elements.
So when we try to muddle through somehow, that's what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. Now, typically, when mixing an old-fashioned, you might start by putting in the ice, then putting in the spirit and mixing it together. In this case, because we're dealing with undissolved sugar, we're going to put the liquid elements in first, then we will add the ice, and then we will stir it. So for this, we're going to go 2 ounces of the gin, and I find that a measure like this is very helpful. If you see on the inside, it has little lines that show you where the ounce and half-ounce measures are. You got that? Mm-hmm. And they make cheaper plastic ones of these that are also really great, that you can find all over the place. So we get the 2 ounces of gin. In that goes. We're going to use 3/4 ounce of the dry Curacao. That's an orange brandy in the style of things like Grand Marnier or Cointreau or things like that. Probably closer to Grand Marnier because of the specifics of the process of how the orange flavor gets in there. So we got a little bit of that. And then we're just going to go 1/4 ounce of the Benedictine, which is an herbal liqueur. And it has all kinds of strong, complex flavors, so it's just like a little added extra bit to throw in. There we go. Put that in. We're going to give this a stir first without the ice, and then we're going to add the ice and get it together. So, with most cocktails where everything in it is spirit-based, you would stir. If you had fruit juice in a drink, like a sour or something like that, then you would probably shake it so that you get everything all mixed in better. So that's probably a good initial point. And again, all of that sugar is not necessarily going to dissolve immediately, which is fine. The cube that we put in was probably a little bit more than it needed, and it was accounting for the fact that it wasn't all necessarily going to dissolve right off the top. So, And we're going to mix again here in a second as soon as we add the ice. And this is the ice that's just for mixing. We're going to grab a different ice cube when we actually put it into its serving glass. So, again. And when you're doing the stirring, the goal is to keep the side of the spoon always facing the inside and pushing the ice around the drink. So when you have it down in there, you're basically you see how this is sort of designed with that, I don't know, it's like a wrought iron fence or something. Yeah, spiral. So you just let that move in your hand as you push the ice, and that keeps the face of the spoon constantly going inside.
No.
So we
New
stir,
information.
and if you stir it of a count of roughly 50 to 60 spins, that's usually enough to get it to the coldness that you want.
50 or 60.
That's roughly what I tend to do. Sometimes I might stir it a little bit more. It depends on the size of your ice.
The beauty is we can go back and see how many times you did spin it.
That's true, we could. So now, actually before I do that, I'm going to grab, I have ice of various sizes. I'm going to use this one. This is a nice little square cube of ice.
Oh, that is nice. So it fits right in the glass, too. Wow. It looks like a piece of Turkish delight.
The great thing about a bigger piece of ice like that is that there's less surface area to melt when we pour the drink in here. Mm-hmm. And so you'll get the full...
Higher volume to surface.
Right, you'll get the full flavor of the beverage. And then what we're using here, this is what's called a julep strainer, which is different from... Let's find over here. This one is a hawthorn strainer. When you've done a drink where you've shaken things up and there's smaller pieces of ice that might have broken off in the process of shaking, this will help catch those smaller pieces of ice when you go to strain it off. Here, because we just had big pieces of ice that were stirred, there's no little pieces to try to avoid. So a julep strainer like this works perfectly well to do it. So then we pour this mixed cocktail into the glass, and it's ready for the Viper's judgment.
This drink has been weighed in the scales of the Viper and found delicious.
The Viper cocktail.
Thank you, Edward.
Let's get these here.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So when we were making the Viper cocktail, one of the elements that I forgot, which is actually kind of a crucial thing when you're building a drink, is that the spirit elements that you mix together, you can mix it up and it can taste fine, it can taste lovely, but what really sort of makes it all more than the sum of its parts is usually the use of cocktail bitters. At some point down the road, we're probably going to make a batch of Viper-specific cocktail bitters. This is one of my homemade batches. It's just a standard aromatic bitters. And so we'll get to see... Actually, Ryan, you want to take a sip of this first without the bitters.
Okay.
Again, see how you feel about that.
I like it. It's a nice, clean taste.
All right, so now we're going to add just a couple dashes of the bitters and then see what that brings to it for you. Oh, nice.
A Harvard man always steers with his finger.
Oh, my bar has been shamed.
Now that's clean with a little dirty.
That's just the way we like it.
No, that is. That's a very rich timing.
That definitely brings it together. So
that's good.
That's a lesson.
Add that.
Never forget your bitters. In this case, my own house ones, Bitter Homes and Gardens, but you can buy others in the store. There's Angostura, Fee Brothers. I'm wondering about Bad. Oh, you're looking over there. Bad Dog. This is out of Austin. Some sarsaparilla bitters. That could be a nice touch in there.
That could be.